And welcome everybody to another episode of Mac Yak. I think
Hello.
we're number 29 or 30. I can't remember now.
No, 29.
29. Okay. It's starting to get to where it's blurring everything together and stuff. You know, we've got so many of these episodes now, and it's like,
Yeah, we've done 500 already.
We're veterans at
yeah.
this point.
Oh, exactly. So,
Seasoned
Nothing
professionals.
could go wrong.
well, it could go wrong tonight because I'm streaming this now on a new computer. I'm actually doing this on my Mac Pro tonight. So we want to see how that's going to go. We did a test last week with a bunch of us. I streamed for about an hour and it seemed to work okay. It looked like it works actually better on this Mac Pro than it does on the 2017. So a 2009 machine is way better than a 2017 machine. Figure that
Mac
one
Pro
out.
power, baby.
Well, here's the funny thing too: is it's not using the what do you call it? It's not using the graphics card to encode. It's actually using the CPU. And to be honest with you, it's actually doing better because the CPU is barely being scratched on this thing.
Well, you got what, 16 cores in that thing?
No, it's 12 cores.
Oh.
Oh, only 12.
Yeah, only 12, but 24 threads. So hey.
It
So
kicks
now
the
that,
pants out of whatever I have.
now that Steve has his, we're all on Mac Pros pretty much.
Mine's just a puny single processor.
Yep.
Hey, at least
And
it
by
has
the
a
way, if
graphics card
anybody,
that works.
yeah,
Yes.
and if anybody out there has a dual processor tray for a 4,1, I know that Steve is looking for one.
Yeah, but
Looking for but cannot afford, yes.
message me first. I already missed out on one.
Yeah, he missed out actually on this one that I'm actually streaming on right now, only because I lived about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from the guy. So, he was here in Arizona. So Jay was kind of upset, especially for the price I got this one for, too. So,
Yeah,
Way to rub it in.
I don't like you at all for that.
Yep.
You
Hey,
think
you
you
get
do a
all.
friend a favor? It's like, hey, he's in Arizona. Why don't I make the match, hook you guys up, and then after the fact, I hear the price, and they're like, what? I should have asked for shipping?
Because you would have paid the shipping.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, anyways, guys, welcome tonight. We got a pretty decent show for you tonight. We don't have a lot to talk about tonight. There's only the three of us, too, by the way. Me, Steve, and Jay. So that's pretty much going to be it for tonight. So, Steve, what you got going on lately?
Well, before I get to what I wanted to talk about, my iMac has been a pain in the rear, so I have to get the other Greg's help with installing a suitable graphics card because this one just decided to die, unfortunately. So,
We should have warned you. I feel this is our fault. We should have warned you. Because as
well,
soon as you get a Mac Pro in your house, every other Mac becomes jealous and just starts
Mm-hmm.
failing at random. It's true.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Well,
I have.
mine hasn't failed yet. It's just that now it's like just used for iRacing now. So,
Yeah, so this is a mid 2011 iMac. It was basically the 27-inch model maxed out when I purchased it in 2011. So yeah, I mean it's been running fine up until a few years ago. After I was playing some games on Boot Camp and pushing the graphics card hard, the graphics card died a few months after, and this was after Apple had a recall for it. Which I remember doing the serial number check on the website and said, no, you're not eligible. Don't worry about it. Well, after it failed, I did the serial number eligible check again. And oh, look at that. I was eligible. But the promotion had expired. And now I would have to pay out of pocket. So, I talked to Apple over the phone. They said, well, come into the store. We'll do a hardware test to make sure it's the graphics card. Of course it was, basically, because all the symptoms were there, the weird patterns and stripes and whatnot. So they did a test of it, and I explained in the store, I said, look, I have, proof here. I have a screenshot, because I'm a weirdo. I take screenshots of everything. I happen to have
Oh,
a
me too.
screenshot back in, when was it, 2013 or 2014, or whenever the recall was announced for these graphics cards, saying it was not eligible. So I showed them, and I said, hey, look, this says I'm not eligible, but you do it now it is. So how am I as a customer supposed to, hey, Greg, how
Hey,
am I
guys.
supposed to take advantage of, this thing here if you're saying I'm not eligible. So long story short, they replaced the card, and years later now it's dead again. So
Hey,
Greg will
And
probably help me
you're
eventually.
frozen, Greg, so you may have to reconnect.
No, he's just
Oh,
very
wait,
still.
there he is.
yeah.
No.
Hey, I just wanted to wish you guys a good one. I'm actually in my dad's office right now in the house. He's actually over there, but anyway, yeah. So I
You'll
just
make it
wanted
up
to.
for me by helping me install a graphics card.
It looks like you're in
Well,
a
I can help you.
kitchen.
Yeah.
It is. We
I
have
know you don't cook, so this is
this.
Okay,
very odd to me.
so
This
so
house.
wait.
This
Now
house
we know
has
where
two
Greg
kitchens
gets
in it.
his putting everything in a kitchen thing from. He
Yeah.
gets it from his dad.
Well, yeah, his office was in the downstairs kitchen. This house originally was a single level, and then they added the top level with a better kitchen upstairs.
Good excuse.
Oh, two
There's a
kitchens
kitchen
piled up into.
upstairs.
There used to be an oven right here, and now it's a computer desk.
Oh, good
But
replacement.
yeah, so I just wanted to wish you guys a good show and stuff. I can't stick around. I'm still unpacking and stuff. So
All right,
It's
dude.
all right.
All right,
Good
man.
luck. Don't break anything. Don't bleed
Yeah.
on anything.
see you guys.
Yeah.
See you, dude.
All right,
But it's
guys.
very, very appropriate timing by Greg. So yeah, my
Yes.
graphics card is toast again, and it's doing all that weird stuff, and I will have to replace it. It looks like. So unfortunately, my videos are kind of on hold for a while, so I can't do
Well,
anything with them.
But I
since
don't get it. I don't
this is
get it.
not
You got this Mac Pro sitting there begging to be used.
It's, you want to lug that thing upstairs? Be my guest.
Well, you
I have,
refuse to give
I
me your
have,
address because you
I
fear that I'm
have,
going to steal half your
I
stuff.
have the G5 tower next to the iMac here, so
oh
I only have space for one of those on the
Oh,
desk.
yeah,
So
that'll get stuff done.
well then you get the G5 and move it out of the way and put the Pro there.
that's sacrilegious. I don't know if I could do that.
What?
What?
When I return from my trip, we'll be
Anyone
doing more of this.
in the live chat currently watching, help us convince Steve to ditch his iMac and move to a Mac Pro. It's
Well,
just better for him.
the problem is everything that I have set up, all the assets in Final Cut Pro and everything are on the internal 4 terabyte drive on the iMac and the external stuff. So I
Well,
can do it. I'm just gonna have to move everything over.
I was going to
And
say that all you do is you have a network, right?
yes, I do. But
So
I
you
need
move
the
from one.
storage space. Yeah, I need the storage space in the Mac Pro first. I have
Well,
like one 128 gig SSD in there,
you
so
know
that's
you
not
can
going to cut
open
it.
up that iMac. You could take that hard drive completely out, put it in a
Yeah.
sled, and throw it in your Mac Pro. Boom.
Well, that drive is probably on its last leg, so I'm just going to bite the bullet and buy a new
I
drive
just hear
probably
a
at
whole
some
bunch
point.
of excuses here.
That's
No,
what I'm
you
hearing.
hear.
That's what I'm hearing.
I will do it. I will do it when I'm not about to leave the country. So how about that?
On the live stream, please.
Yes.
Yes, we want to see that live.
Yes. Yeah. Hear me cursing, just like when I was fixing that CRT.
Just don't
But
bleed like Grudy.
I'll try not to. I haven't done that on camera yet. But anyway, long story short, that brings me to a little archive corner, or whatever we want to call it. Is so we were going to do this the other week, but we got so carried away talking about Mac OS 10 that we didn't get a chance to. So I'm putting a link in the chat here,
Just a little
and
bit.
just a little bit. And this is pretty cool. So I picked up a Mac Plus recently in the box and everything. And it's always interesting what you find inside of the box. Usually I don't find too many goodies or anything, but this is pretty cool. So this is a list, and it's actually dated, which makes it even better. You could click the link in the chat there. This is a list from June 20th, 1987. So, hey, look at that. Today is June 20th. So, can anyone guess how many years that's been? Want to do some math
1,
there?
2,
That
3.
is 32
I'll get
years.
back to you.
So
He
this
didn't
list
have a
is
calculator right then.
exactly 32 years old. So that's pretty cool. But what's neat about this is it lists all of the pricing information for this Penn computer connection, which was, I guess, a University of Pennsylvania computer store. And there's Macintosh stuff, and then there's a bunch of software and accessories and things like that. But I mean, some of these prices are insane. Macintosh SE with 2 internal 800K floppy drives, a keyboard, an image writer 2, and starter kit, whatever that is, $2,349.
Well,
So
what are you smoking?
yeah,
Okay, that should have been what were they smoking
yeah.
back in the day?
Well, it gets better. It gets better. The highest priced machine here. Who wants to guess how much?
$6,800.
Not that much, but this is a
5,000.
Macintosh 2 with one internal floppy drive, 40 megabyte SCSI hard disk, keyboard, video card, and a color monitor. $4,376. This is
Wow.
probably with an educational discount. So,
And what would that
40
be
megabytes.
with
Wow.
inflation? What would that be today?
oh, that's a good question. Let's pop that into
The
inflation.
inflation calculator.
Somebody probably beat me to it, but here we go. So we're going to say, oh, come on. There we go. So 1987 and a price of $4,367. That's a grand total of $9,787. That's
Damn.
Mac Pro money. That's Mac Pro and a display stand money.
Yep.
So, I mean, what's also cool about this, not just the Macs that they list, but some of the accessories, which I often have a trouble, when I'm doing research for my videos and stuff, I often have trouble finding out like how much some of these things cost. Like a external disk drive or this Mac tape backup drive, that was at 1,139 US dollars. Or just an external Mac Plus keyboard, $100.
Well,
So
and Steve, you know what's funny about that though is you see these people complaining about what the new Mac Pro costs,
oh yeah,
and they don't realize that stuff was just as expensive back
it
then.
was always expensive, always
Yeah,
expensive.
See what you get for it these days.
Yeah,
yeah.
you got. Let's see here. You have Apple Talk custom wiring kit,
Ooh,
$468.
what's that in inflation?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's a lot of money for a freaking wiring kit.
That's probably about $1,200 or so. Yeah.
SCSI Terminator, $24. You have a 5 1/4 disk drive, $299. 80 megabyte hard drive, $2,259. Internal 80 megabyte hard drive, $1,900. It's Laser Rider Plus, $4,000. And I mean, you could go broke looking at this list. So
Whew. And
that's yeah. So
you said Penn State, right?
yeah.
They had, over the years, they had a gobsmacking amount of Apple gear because you find it everywhere, from California to New York to
Oh really?
Florida. Half of my ex-servers are from Penn.
Oh wow.
I picked up some stuff in Florida that was from Penn. I know people in California that they had a lot of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't you have something on the excerpt where you found that it was from somebody that was I
Uh,
forget.
yes, on the raid. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right, the raid. The raid came from Penn. It had student evaluations and all that stuff on it.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a weird trip down memory lane to look at this stuff and just like look at the software prices. Like, Mac Pascal with the documentation, $90.
Yeah. Speaking of which, guys, if you ever do decide to get rid of stuff like that, make sure you wipe your hard drives because when you find stuff like that, of course we're gonna look.
Oh yeah. Hey, when I got that 5 megabyte hard drive spinning up for the Apple III, that's the first thing I did.
Yeah, there's you can, say, "Oh, whatever I buy, I wipe it instantly. I don't even look." That's
No,
horseshit. Everybody
that.
looks. So, if you do look, I mean, obviously not personal identifiable information and all that, but software. If you find software, disk images, all that stuff, see if Macintosh Garden has it. If not, upload it because you'll make
Yeah.
someone very happy with it down the
I
road.
just bought in fact let me get it off camera here. I just bought this. I don't have any use for it, but it's an older version than what's on Macintosh Garden. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw this box a few years ago. I revisited that same thrift store and it was still there. So this is
Semantic.
like, so this is like a contact manager, but this
Ooh.
is version 1.1, and
Ooh.
Macintosh Garden only has like version 3 or 4 or something like that. Now, granted, the box is a little more beat up than I saw it a few years ago, but the discs are still inside, so I figured for
It
four
probably
dollars,
got
I'll
shuffled
I'll
around a
donate it.
few hundred times.
Yes, it did over the past few years. So I got that, and I felt sorry for it. So I'm going to archive it. So yeah, just like Greg was saying, you never know what you're going to find. I mean, I picked up a LC2. No, I'm sorry, a Performa 400. Same thing. And the hard disk in those was always preloaded with the system software. And like I went on a rant a few Mac Yaks ago, you never got a backup disk. So the only way that software exists is on the hard drive, and the only way to back that up with the system was over floppy disks, which you can imagine not
Yeah.
a lot of people did. So this hard drive had a lot of the games and stuff that came with the machine. So I imaged that, and I'm going to have to. I want to remove the personal data off of it and then put that on Macintosh Garden because it was like a bounty out, for
Sweet.
perform a restore, software because
Yeah.
you get like demo versions or limited, trials of stuff, which was always neat.
Yeah, and I had someone saying, "Oh, Macintosh Garden. I don't know those guys. Why would I help them?" It's you're not helping that website. All we do by uploading more stuff is increasing the storage bill for them. They don't benefit from it at all. You're helping other people in the community.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm looking for something. Jay's looking for something. You're putting
And
it out there.
we've had Christian on the show before,
Yeah,
so
he's a
he's a
great
real
guy.
good guy. He's a real good guy.
yeah, he pays for all this stuff out of pocket. So
Hmm.
definitely hats off to that.
So
Yep.
my apologies, Christian, for me adding more junk on there.
Every time you upload, it's plus $5 for him. He's like,
He
"Oh,
cries a little bit.
Steve again."
Damn it.
All right. So
Oh,
is that
can
about
we
it? Or
see that list on your Patreon, or where do you keep it?
I did put it on both, so it's on the archive.org. I just slapped a link in the chat a few minutes ago.
Cool.
And I'll be doing a Patreon post this evening with some other stuff in there. So, yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
I guess I need to become a patron of your channel. I think yours is
I
the only
guess
channel
so.
I
You've been
haven't.
slacking.
Yeah.
Although
Greg is
you've been
just sitting there
donating,
collecting money.
you've
No,
been
I have
donating
not been
hard drives
collecting
to me, so
anything.
it's much appreciated.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I did donate hard drives to
You
you.
did.
There
You
you
did.
go. See?
I had to get out that SCSI adapter to actually test them, but that's
Wait
a
a
whole other
second. Wait a
story.
second. So because I donated that splitter or signal thing, whatever, to you, I don't even have to be a patron.
No, I'm not. I can't get to his Patreon stuff. I'm not going to ask for that. No, I just did this. He paid for the shipping, and I shipped it out. What, 6 hard drives or something like that? I can't
Something like
remember.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I had to test them. We'll see what's on there if there's anything good.
I do
yeah.
want to
I don't
cover
even
that
know if anything's
in a
on there.
future Mac Yak, by the way, because among the 6 of us and a few people on Discord, we have this entire trade ecosystem set up. Like, he needs a hard drive, I ship it, he just pays the shipping. I need a bracket for something, I just pay the shipping. Like, we're just trading stuff left and right. I haven't actually bought anything in months because we're just trading it up.
Ooh, there you go.
So,
Fiber channel, right?
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Jay sent me 2 of these
Ooh, let's
because
see.
actually this is the one that's broke, but he sent me 2 just like it that work and works, and it's now working in my Mac Pro. As a matter of fact, to my RAID.
Are the
yeah.
cables for those hard to find, or?
I had the cables that came with the RAID. They're fiber optic
Okay.
cables. So,
That's
It's
neat.
I think trade is the way to go. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, if you do a straight up trade, it kind of has to match value.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the people doesn't feel screwed over, but if it's the occasional trade, I might need something now and not trade anything back until 4 months later. You
Well, let's take for instance, right now, I sent 6 hard drives to uh, Steve, but I haven't gotten anything in return. But I don't need anything right now, so it's like, but it's
I'll
fine.
send some crap your way. Don't worry. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. No, I don't need anything.
a
I
bucket
just
of screws.
What's
look.
this 21-inch dead CRT coming my way?
No, Jay wants that.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well,
And I'll fix that sucker too.
Yeah,
there you go.
but
There you go.
I mean, that's like Jay just said, though. I mean, we got to get a good trade community. I think that's like Jay just said. That's the way to go. If I have something that either anybody needs, of course we're going to trade it around, and or vice versa. Now we know Greg Rutke has all kinds of stuff, so he has everything, so he doesn't need anything from us. So
Right. Or he'll buy it, and then we're like, dude, we have 6 of these on the shelf. Why didn't you just ask
You
us
have to
for
buy
it?
all 6
exactly,
again. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, trade is the way to go. It's awesome, and you never have to worry about the eBay effect. I'm all for groups like LemSwap.
Oh
Great
yeah.
groups to have. You find some
Hmm.
really really nice things, but more often than not, you're dealing with people that want maximum value,
Of
and
course.
you
They
know,
see it on. They see a asking
They
price
see
on eBay.
dollar
They think that's what they're
signs.
going to get.
Yeah, and if all you do is trade, all you have to worry about is the flat rate shipping, which is
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
much always the
I
same.
just got some weirdo new bus adapters for free. I just paid shipping, and
Yep.
I'll be able to tinker around with those. No idea what they do, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and Grudy picked up 2 DVI adapters for free.
Oh,
I
nice.
say, he didn't even have to pay for shipping. He was close enough to pick them up, and he fixed them up and good to go. And
Yeah.
I think that's how we keep this stuff alive.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Because somebody's garbage is somebody else's treasure.
Yep.
Pretty
you bet.
much. That's the way it works.
That explains my
It's
basement.
trash, not garbage. It's trash. It
Okay,
rhymes, you
trash.
see.
Never mind. Yeah. All right. So
Speaking of
speaking of
trash
which,
and cleaning,
yeah, actually, yeah, that kind of is a good segue into our next topic here is spring cleaning. Um,
Yeah.
Max needs spring cleaning too, and this is the time of year. Well, this is way past spring. We're actually starting summertime, so uh, we should have done this one about what 4 or 5 episodes ago.
nah,
So,
Well,
we're
we
anyways,
getting a
agreed
late
it
start
last
on our
week,
cleaning.
but you guys couldn't shut up about those Mac OS versions.
well, we're thinking about also doing a iOS one, so that might come up later
It's
on.
going to
But
be a
who knows?
5-hour yak.
Yeah. So, anyways, first off is hardware cleaning. Now, I sent Jay a picture today, and Steve, and it's from somebody that put out a video today. I won't mention his name, but anyways, that thing was disgusting. I don't know what he had on those drive sleds, but it looked like he
So it was a Mac Pro,
it
right?
was a
Like you
Mac
It was a
ran
Pro.
Mac
out of
Pro.
toilet paper and just wrapped the sled,
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
what's so hard is when I'm shooting video and I have like an old machine set up. If you have the wrong lighting, like I often do, it looks like somebody threw it in a bucket of mud.
but that wasn't wrong lighting. That was
No,
like,
I mean, I was looking at it and you could see like it must have been like grease from his fingerprints, and in the lighting and the reflection, it looks like dog do. But
It looks like shit. You can say it looks like shit. Absolutely. It's disgusting.
oh, but
I'm
you
sympathetic because I notice all that crap on my videos while I'm editing,
Now,
and
I
then
do
I'm
have
like,
to
I'm
say,
too lazy to edit it again.
should
but
should we share the link? Because people don't know what we're talking about. But
sure, if you want to, go for it.
I don't want to pull it up. Nope.
I don't want to pull it up either, but
It was just an image
okay. Should we say his
of it.
name?
No, you don't. I mean, whatever. It's up to
Nah,
you.
can't do
No,
that.
no.
It was just an image that looked like the Mac Pro was living in a
Okay,
dumpster,
let's give him some hints there. He upgraded his Mac Pro to the Max,
quote
supposedly
unquote Max.
the most powerful Mac in the world is what he put on there, which
Yeah,
Jay
must
corrected
be a
him
pretty
on.
small
So,
planet. Yeah,
well, Jay did correct him. So,
yeah. Well,
hey,
By the way, speaking of trade, if anyone watching needs any um, hard drive sleds for the 1,1, 2,1, or 3,1 Mac Pro.
I will take you up on a few for my 2008, sir.
But the reason I wanted to pull one of these out is that these sleds, they have some kind of texture to them. They are extremely hard to clean. I'll give him that.
Yes,
I'll give him
but
yes.
they're not hard to clean.
Dana got it. Dana nailed it. But if you're about to do a video on it with different color lighting and you got your fancy setup and all that, clean the damn thing.
Yeah,
I can get it.
that's what I'm talking about. The first one in here is hardware cleaning. It's not that hard. I mean, alcohol
It isn't.
is a good thing to use on hardware. It doesn't ruin electronics, especially isopropyl alcohol. You can actually soak a whole logic board in isopropyl, and it's not going to hurt anything. You can actually wash a logic board in distilled water, and it's not going to hurt anything.
Nope.
As long as you dry it completely before you power it up, you're good to go.
Pretty much.
Don't put it in a dishwasher, please. I mean, I see a lot of people say throw it in a dishwasher, but the jets and the water jets and all that stuff can knock components off. Okay. The water is not distilled water. It's whatever water you've got in your neighborhood. So it could have all, like, for instance, here where I'm at, we have hard water. So we have this lime stuff that gets in the water, it's crusty, and that stuff gets underneath components and stuff. You don't want that stuff underneath there. So my suggestion, I don't know about you guys, but I suggest do not put it in a dishwasher.
No,
I'm guilty of
absolutely.
doing that once. I didn't know any better, and the board was already dead. So I'm like, what do I got to lose? But yeah, I would not recommend that.
Yeah.
I will put some of the larger components. Like when I took apart my liquid damage cube, I took it apart. I made a tub with warm soapy water. I put it in there, let it soak overnight, and then scrub it down and all that stuff.
But you're talking about like the plastic parts and stuff like that, not the
No,
electronic
the
parts, right?
board and stuff as
Okay.
well. Yeah,
Okay.
because the older stuff, the larger components, they can handle it. But if you try that with a 2016 MacBook, you're screwed.
But you have what do you call ultrasonic cleaner too? So
Yes,
a
yes,
lot of us don't have that.
but that's for work. That's not for personal use. So I'm still have to resort to other tricks.
But alcohol is a good choice to clean stuff off. Goo Gone. If you got like sticker residue and stuff on the outside, Goo Gone, or sometimes WD-40, but I don't recommend using that on plastics because that WD-40 will melt plastics and
And I'll
leave.
give you a
Yeah.
tip about plastics. They're brittle, especially the old
Older
beige
ones.
stuff.
Yep.
I was cleaning off a 14-inch AV Apple display, this beige display. It was disgusting. It was like black. That's how much dirt was on this cable and stuff. So I'm cleaning off, and I was cleaning off the front of it where the speaker was, and I pushed too hard and I heard crack. And so the speaker grill is metal, and that's just slightly sunken in now. So that, just be careful. This stuff is old, and the plastic could become very brittle. So, a lot of people in my photos and stuff on Instagram, oh, you should retrobrite that. You should clean that. I'm like, I'm being careful. I don't want to rush through cleaning stuff and break the plastic.
Yeah.
That's something to be
Speaking of
aware of.
retrobrite, to go even further off topic,
Well,
is
it's the same. It's on topic here.
I've seen the posts that a few people have done it, including I think there's a British or Australian guy that has the YouTube channel. They did the
retro
Yeah,
recipes. No, he's
they just put it out in the sun, and I see really good results with it.
it. Okay, he did a thing on it because 8-Bit Guy actually came out with something on that, and then he said, "Well, I'm going to go a step further and try it." And it takes a long time. I mean, it takes weeks in order for it to get the brightness
That's
you
not what
want.
I'm seeing. I see matter of days.
No. Yes, you'll see improvement, but not to the original
Not a
color
full
that you.
restoration.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah. The full restoration takes weeks, he said, and the best way to do it is to basically leave it out for about 3 or 4 hours in not full sunlight, but kind of partly
Partly
sunlight.
cloudy.
Yeah, because he says that's the best way to do it because it doesn't overheat the plastic, and you got to keep constantly turning it. He made a little turntable that automatically turned it. Yeah.
And also, I've never tested any of this, but just something I read that on paper sounded like it had merit, that the plastic becomes brittle because it loses the oils in them. So kind of rehydrating or working it over with oil and stuff kind of brings it back. I've never tested that, but
Yeah.
worth looking into, maybe.
Yeah, I have
Garrett,
an LC that's already cracked and brittle, so I could try that on there.
yeah, Garrett says, "Have y'all yacked about retrobite?" No, I've never retrobite it myself. I've watched other people do it. I've seen 8-Bit Guy do it a lot. I've seen the Retro Recipes guy do it. There's a couple other guys out there that's done it too, and I'm just not confident in my abilities to do it, and I don't have the patience to sit there and go check on it every 30 minutes, And
Yeah, I don't own anything that needs retrobriting. So.
Yeah, well, I have plenty of stuff that could, but the problem is a lot of my stuff that's yellowed, it's not a solid yellow tone. There's a smooth gradient over the surface. And so you'll see from beige to yellow like half of the machine or only the top or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a gradient and it's not the whole piece, it's like, all right, well, I have to be very careful about doing this because otherwise one's going to be, a lighter color than the other. And I've seen some of the Apic guy videos where he does retrobrite something and it comes out splotchy or this or that.
Well,
And
that's because he uses that cream. He uses
yeah, well, even in
salon
some
cream. Yeah,
yeah, but even in some ways, it bubbles form in the water and stuff like that. So I I personally don't mind things looking yellow. If it's hideous and disgusting and dirty, I'll clean it. But if
yeah,
it's yellow, that's the last of my worries. I got capacitors to replace and batteries to replace. That's
yeah.
first on my list. I'll make it
I
look
agree
pretty
with you.
afterwards.
Yeah, I agree with you on that there because to make it functional
Yeah,
is top
that's my
priority.
goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of us. It's the looks, or maybe later on because
Oh yeah, I'd love for everything to look like it was brand new, but I ain't got time for that right now. So
yeah. Well,
So
speaking of
what?
which,
How we got? How
Jay, didn't you just clean up a nasty case for a what was it, a G5 or was it a Mac Pro?
Mac Pro? Yeah.
And I mean, you couldn't even tell that thing was. It looked like it'd been dumped in a lake for 10 years or so.
Let me see if I can pull up some pictures.
it was a lake aquarium asset.
No, it was pretty nasty, and he cleaned it up.
That's what I'm saying. It was
Yeah,
sitting at the bottom of the lake, like for the
there,
fishes to
yeah,
swim.
there you
Uh,
go.
Oh,
this was the side panel,
oh boy,
You could barely see the apple in there.
and
That's it now.
that's after.
Yeah.
beautiful.
And what did you use?
I used a ton of alcohol and vinegar, actually,
And elbow grease.
a lot of elbow grease. But I got it pretty much 95% back to what it was. But
Yeah.
aluminum is a lot easier to clean than that brittle yellow plastic.
Yeah.
Yes, you could scrub a lot harder.
But that's another thing too is vinegar is a good thing to clean aluminum and stuff with, metals and stuff like that. Um, Toothbrushes, you got to have toothbrushes to clean this stuff, or even fine fiber brushes, because when you start doing electronic components, especially on a electronic board, logic board or something, you don't want something with hard, stiff bristles, on there, because then you're going to knock components off. you know, um, I usually like to use. I actually have a makeup brush, believe it or not, because it's real soft and fine, and it works fine to get the dust between components and stuff out. I mean, that's just me.
Andrew asked if the Mac was Luke's.
Well, Luke wouldn't have known what to do with it, so.
But how we got onto this subject is part of the spring cleaning. The first thing you got to do is clean the hardware.
Yes, and that's why we're still on this subject is the
Yeah,
hardware. Yeah.
and
Yeah,
that's
Um,
get all the dust out.
Compressed air is another thing. Lots of compressed air. Clean the fans out, especially the fans, because I know that Grudy had a problem. He had a Sonnet card that the fan was just nasty. He
it
cleaned
was
that
caked
sucker
in
up.
place. Yeah,
Yeah, it wouldn't even move. It wouldn't even. It was so bad, it
It was
wouldn't
just
even move.
caked. Yeah.
And he cleaned it up, and it's actually working now. So I mean, you could get things back to working if you do take your time and clean it. You
And
know.
9 times out of 10, you clean the dust off of your, fans and your CPU. You're going to see a performance increase because it's not
Yep.
getting hot like it was before. The first time I figured this stuff out. Now this is going back to when I used to repair PCs. Now stick with me, Jay. Don't get too crazy. But um, the worst offenders were these Dell Dimension machines that had these green plastic hoods over a CPU. And what this
Yep.
would do is, some of you have probably seen this before, what it would do is it would shield the CPU, but it would direct the air like right into the power supply fan or right into the side of the case.
Hmm.
And it was just a dust magnet. So, those processors were aware that enough that if it got hot, it would slow itself down because it couldn't cool. So you'd have a Windows XP machine with, let's say, only half a gig of RAM or something, and all of a sudden it slows to a crawl, and you're like, "What the heck is going on here?"
It
You
was
rip the
because
case
Windows.
open.
It
Well,
was because
that's
Windows.
that's half of it. But in addition to the slow operating system, not enough memory, you had a processor that was caked with dust. And so I took that apart. I would clean it all out. Thing would boot up much, much faster because, hey, it's not struggling to cool itself anymore. And and it could actually, breathe. The
Yeah.
same thing goes for Macs. Especially, this iMac here. When I, open it up to replace the GPU, I'm going to clean it out again. And I know when I took it to the Apple Store a few years ago, they told me they cleared out a lot of dust and they replaced a fan because it was, I guess it was on its way out or whatever. But this is, routine maintenance is very important to make these machines last longer than
Yeah.
they're supposed to.
Well, if you go to the MacYak webpage, I actually have a blog post on there where I actually did clean out my 2017, and it's being held. The screen's actually being held on by electrical tape now because Apple decided to not make it easy to get into those things because you have to cut the glue around the
Oh,
display
jeez.
to get into it because it's a thin Mac. It's not the thicker one.
Yeah.
I have a 2009 that actually opens up and I can actually take everything, clean it out and everything and put it back together. But anything that's 2011 and up, no, 2012 and up,
2012. Yeah.
uh, is basically the screen is glued on. So I have a Mac that's sitting here with electric. I think Jay's wife has a Mac that's the same way, right?
With
Yep.
the painter's tape or whatever. Yeah.
No, I actually, well, his has got painter's tape, I think, but mine has electrical tape, and it holds
The
just
last
fine.
time, the last time I went cheap, I just used painter's tape. It looks
Oh.
hideous, but
Or yellow duct tape. There you
Ooh. If you can't duck it,
yeah,
we
go.
won't say it.
you don't even have to go as far as putting fresh thermal paste unless you've never done it before. It might benefit, but you don't have to go all out. But just get the dust out. And if you have a laptop, clean out the keyboard. If you have a Retina, don't bother. The keyboard is going to fail anyway. But any other computer, clean out the keyboard, clean out the fans, the heat sinks, all that stuff. Don't worry. And I'll put a disclaimer because this is YouTube. Uh, at your own risk, but even blowing out fans with compressed air, not a problem in
Yeah.
my experience, because I've tested every fan from G4 to MacBook Pro, MacBook Air. I've tested them all with multimeters. You blow air in there, ramp them up to insane speeds. It never feeds back any power to the board. So that's just my testing.
Mm-hmm.
So I say don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
I've had even experiences where you have dust forming on the back of the iMac or right under where the RAM door is. So sometimes it's very visible to just get a brush or just easily clean out the excess dust. And if you see the dust at that point, then there's a lot inside. So
Yeah,
it's just something to be aware of to clean it up.
and
Yep.
laptops. Clean the screen, microfiber cloth, a little bit moist with water. Just
Well,
little
especially
hot
laptops, especially the newer laptops where they're so thin now and the fans are so small, you need to clean those suckers out. And the heat sinks are so small now in those
yeah,
things that you got to get all the fins clean because you need maximum heat dissipation on those things.
yeah. And the
Yeah, I
screens,
was
again with the retinas, don't worry about the screen. It's gonna delaminate. It's gonna destroy itself. At least there's a quality program for it now. But clean the smudges off your screen and all that.
Yeah.
Actually, if you clean it often, it might actually delaminate within the recall program time period, so you can still get it replaced.
Now,
If you never clean it because you're scared to do so, and you clean it 5 years from now when the program expires, you're screwed. So
yeah. Now, Jay, you mentioned this before. We talked about this before. Is don't use those clip-on, um, what you call it, for the laptops, the shells, the clip-on shells.
oh yes, the hard covers.
Yes.
Yeah, they get the job done. They will prevent or they will help you against scratches
That's about
from
it, though.
outside sources. If you bump the corner, it might survive. But if you take that shell off, and I've seen this a lot of times, people they buy a brand new MacBook Pro, they buy a $40 hardcover, slap it on in the store, and walk away.
And never
Never take
touch
it
it again.
off until maybe the one day they have to visit the Genius Bar or some kind of shop. They take it off and they find out that there's stuff growing behind it. It's all scratched up because of the dust and debris that sits behind the case and the aluminum. So yeah, if you have a hardcover case on your Mac, definitely take it off. Depending on how
yeah
often you throw it in a bag, take it off once a week and clean it out.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah
because
they,
that stuff does get. I mean, dirt and dust does get between the plastic and the thing.
Yeah.
yeah same thing for an iPhone case. So I have this dual case here for my iPhone 8, and so there's a rubber part and a plastic part. And if I take it apart here, Yeah, just like Greg's showing. You see, there's dust just between these two pieces of cases, and then if I take this part off, there's dust in between here too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to scratch. It's a glass back, but especially on the aluminum products, you just got to clean it out. I remember putting a case on my iPhone 3G, which had a plastic back in the
Oh
store, and then I remember never taking that case off. Sure enough, when I went to I think I had to get it replaced or something. I'm like, how did this get scratched? It was in the case. Oh, all the dust.
well, those 3GS, there's 3Gs and 3GSs were notorious for getting dust underneath the screen too.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I used to
bad
hate
memories.
that. Yeah. All right, guys. So that's the hardware portion. Now let's talk about actually cleaning stuff up on the computer itself, data wise. We're talking about organizing old files, deleting old files, stuff like that. What's your experiences on that, Jay?
My oh
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Steve.
no no
Go
no.
ahead.
Jay, go
No, Steve.
first.
There's more to it than just organizing your desktop. And don't say stacks. I hate stacks. It doesn't count. That's not
It works
organizing
though.
anything. Nope.
It just works.
Nope. 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 Doesn't count. There's software out there that can find duplicates. MacPaw has an app called Gemini. It can find duplicate files, and depending on how you tweak it, it's really good. Especially
I'm
for
writing
your
that one down.
photos, for your
Yeah.
photos and stuff. But yeah, go into your downloads folder. If you see 700 Flash Player installers from 2007, get rid of them. Just go through all your files and folders, toss what you don't need, and
Well,
archive what you want to save. Burn it on a Blu-ray, stuff it on an external drive. It's not so much about saving space, because when I had a 6 gigabyte hard drive, every megabyte counted. Now we're talking 16 terabytes in one Mac Pro. Who cares? But
yeah.
it's
Well,
even though people say, "Oh, it doesn't work that way on a Mac," hard drives do fragment as
yeah.
clutter comes on them. You want to keep those things at least 30% free for best performance.
Well, here's the thing now with the newer operating system, especially Mojave now, has when you pull up the About This Mac and you go to click on the storage tab, there's a little tab called, or a little button that says Manage. And if you click on that, it gives you basically a rundown of everything you've got on there. Now, for instance, you can optimize your storage, reduce clutter. Now, reduce clutter, it says review files. So if you click on that, it comes up with the largest files first, and then you could go to downloads, file browser. I mean, it's a pretty neat little way to actually clean up files now. Um, I use that. I've actually used that a lot recently, cleaning up, like you said, installers and stuff like that, because those installers are huge sometimes,
Yeah,
and so you could clean up all that stuff. For instance, right now I'm looking at the very first one, and here it says Mac Crew Presents .move, which is a 712 megabyte file. And it just keeps going down, and you could go all the way down and just clean off all the large files and get rid of them.
yeah, it helps. And
It.
if it's not really about conserving space on your Mac, think about your poor little backup drive, which is typically a time capsule or a single
Mhm.
hard drive running on a server somewhere. Or especially if you're using a cloud backup like Backblaze, that takes a long time to upload a 5 gigabyte installer that's just using up space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
definitely clean up old files.
and organize them. I actually have believe it or
Don't
not, I
say
have a
stack.
folder. No, I have a folder on my drive called Files, and that's where I keep everything. Because for one, if you want to use iCloud, the desktop feature, where desktop's on all your computers, anything you keep on your desktop goes on every Mac. So I do not like that about it. I like the point that my icons are all the same on every Mac. That feature I like, but I don't like it when I stick something on my desktop. I want it to be there. So what I do is I have a folder called Files, which is not in my Documents folder, and I stick everything over there that I want just on this particular Mac.
Yeah.
So I do
Yeah.
that.
What I've been pretty. That's a good tip, Greg. What I've been pretty focused on ever since I think Jaguar or Panther. was really keeping things organized by the home folders. So, you have your home folder. A lot of people don't even realize on a Mac you have a music folder, movies folder,
Mm-hmm.
pictures folder. I try and keep things organized in that way, but visually, sometimes it's very difficult to understand where your files are, especially if you're in the Finder and you don't have that calculate all file sizes checked. Sometimes it's hard to find what's taking up all your space. There's a great free utility, and I'm going to put the link in the YouTube chat, called Disk Inventory X. And it's one of those donation-ware things. You could use it for free, but they'll ask you for a donation. And I've been using this since probably like Tiger, and it still works. And what it does is it will scan your hard drive, and if you guys click on that link, you can see a visual of it. It gives you a visual grid with different colors, showing you the largest pieces. So a large square is a lot of disk space. Small squares is a little disk space. I've used this to find so many either duplicate files or old things I forgot I downloaded, like as Mac OS 10 installs or a backup of a DVD or something like that. It just really helps. And what's really cool about it is, in addition to the visualization, you have a list of the highest capacity, highest size files.
Yeah. It's
So
awesome
that's
talking.
yeah. It's really nice because right from there you could move it to the trash, or you could reveal it in the Finder. I've done that just to clean up my SSD and be like, okay, I don't need this on there. Let me move it away. But the other tip I would give is, if you know a lot about the type of files that are on your machine, and go, let's say you download a lot of installer files, so maybe DMGs or ISOs or things like that, use the Finder search and just type in .iso or .dmg, and you'll see that you maybe have a lot of stuff that you don't need anymore. So,
Yeah. No, I use that
like,
software a lot. I don't even know how old it is. I would say I've been using it at least since 2009, 2010. And I used it for customers a lot. They would come in and say, my hard drive is full with no obvious cause. And you would fire that up. It would take a few minutes to index the whole drive.
yep.
And bam, a giant block of iPhone backups or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really
And
useful.
yeah, so this has been since 2004 was when they released that. And
Oh, wow.
just quickly, I want to mention another one. I know we're not a Windows podcast or anything, but there's a great one for Windows that I've had to use at work
How dare you?
called Spacemonger. It's the same exact thing, all one word. Just Google that and the word freeware, because they did make a commercial release, but
All right, Steve is banned
is a
now.
free software.
Yeah, those.
I'm just saying
I'm just kidding.
we all have
I
to use
know.
machines at work
You're
and such like that.
you're running iOS 13. Do we have the option to kick someone out of a group chat yet?
No, no, not yet.
There's a permanent
Ah,
ban button. His fingers just
fine.
like
Be
hovering
gone.
over it.
Yeah, be
But
gone.
no, actually, I discovered that, the Disk Inventory X, back in the Panther days or whatever. And I was like begging for a Windows utility because at work I had the same problem, and thankfully that solved my issue. So it's always nice to just be able to see what the heck is taking up the space on your disk.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Um, One of the things that I do too, because I do use a lot of us use SSDs, smaller SSDs to boot from. I have a 240 gigabyte SSD that I boot from. But if you use iTunes and stuff like that, it automatically defaults to
Oh
that
yeah,
SSD. So make sure that you basically move your iTunes off to another hard drive. I have it moved to another drive uh, that's a 1.5 terabyte drive that can fill up no problem. But that's another thing too, is I don't want to stick a lot of stuff on my SSD that I don't need on there, because spinners are fine for storage. SSDs are fine for booting. That's the way I look at it.
yeah,
You know
yeah. It's the
I keep my
same.
SSD just for the OS and apps. That's it.
Exactly. I run my apps off of there, but I don't want to put data on the SSD. To me, it's just a waste.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I keep projects I'm working on the SSD, and when I don't need them anymore, I'll put them on an external or the
Yeah.
spinning disk. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. next thing on the list here is checking backups. When is the last time you checked your burned CDs and DVDs for disk rot? And that's a good question too, because I just came into that. I was looking through some of my discs for old music that I had on there, and one of my CDs would not read anymore. One of my burned CDs. It was about, I think I had burned it in 2004. So that was
Yeah.
what, 15 years roughly. So
Wow.
uh, yeah, disc rot is real.
Oh,
You know.
definitely.
I have my father got a CD burner with his G4 Tower when it was brand new. And so what, that's 99, 2000. So I have some CDs that are burned that are over 20 years old
Yeah.
at this point almost. And
Now,
some of them just will not read. And also back then the materials were not as good as they were these days. And so
yeah,
you see a lot of scraping off or anything like that. They
yeah.
just didn't last.
Now I've been burnt. I just redid all my iTunes library, and I have a bunch of original CDs that I bought back in the '80s. Okay, so you're looking at 30-something-year-old discs. Now those discs are fine because they're pressed. They're not,
Even
you
press
know,
Yeah,
discs can
burned.
rot though.
yeah, even
Yeah,
press
but
discs
these are
can
still
rot.
good. In fact, when I
Your
was ripping
particular
them,
ones.
yeah, my particular ones are good. Now, I did see one where the silver stuff was starting to flake off on the back of it. So I was like, ooh, that's not good. Where it's starting to flake off, but it was just at the edge, so it wasn't where any data was yet. So it's a good thing I re-ripped them again. So now I still have that, that stuff backed up. But make sure you check them, and if you have to, copy them to a new disk. That way you have a new backup and still can use the old backup if it still works.
Yeah, I last did it in 2012. I had to go back home because my dad was selling the house, so I was like, "Come clear out all your crap." So I went back home and I transferred everything to my MacBook Pro at the time on external drive, and a lot of disks. I had to use something like Data Rescue that would continuously try to read them out because so many disks were damaged, and not even rotting, but just the die was not what it used to be. And I transferred everything that I had on CD and DVD to Blu-ray, and I check it twice a year. I take random discs, pop them in, and the first sign I get that the data isn't reading properly, I extract all the data and burn them again. But the same goes for hard drives. You can back up like a religion, like, oh, I got 25 backups running to different drives, different servers, blah blah blah. You don't know if your backup is okay until you actually restore the backup. You got to test your backups. If you don't
Hmm.
test them, you don't know what you got.
Yeah, they're worthless. Yeah.
And don't rely on Time Machine only. That's another fallacy. You don't want to rely on just Time Machine.
Well, the,
You
the
want
good rule of thumb is if your backup is not in two places, it's not backed up. So your system, backup A and backup B. If you don't
well.
have your backup in two
Jay
places,
has three.
at
I think
least
Jay
two.
goes.
Yeah, so I
At
think Jay
least,
wins.
yeah. No, there's a system. We covered that a few Magics ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
the
three two
one,
one
two, three,
system.
or three,
Yeah,
two, one.
or
Yeah.
1 2 3, whatever. Definitely, and test. It's very time consuming to test your backups. I mean, nobody's just gonna pop in a new hard drive or test on an external, restore their entire backup, test drive it for 2 days to see if everything. Nobody does that. Everybody just blindly trusts that whatever time machine or carbon copy cloner or chronosync, whatever you're using, it sends it out, so it must be okay. But you don't know. You don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah, I
until you
have
test.
I have a time machine backup and a backblaze backup, and then I have a bad habit, but it saved me sometimes. Where if I upgrade a hard drive, I'll clone the old drive to the new one, and I'll just put the old one in a drawer. I won't even reuse it. So,
Hmm.
it kind of lazy in some respects, but also I have a complete backup from that time period if I need it.
Yep. Well, I basically ever since I got this RAID, I use it as a backup. So I have a Time Machine backup on one side of the RAID. On the other side, I actually back up, like for instance, my movie database and stuff, and my music and everything is all going on the other side. So it's on two separate RAIDs. Now Jay has been trying to convince me to RAID them both together and to use them that way. But to be honest with you, I'd rather have them in two separate, for the simple fact is that
Ooh.
If one raid goes bad, and one of them's a raid 5, the other was a
Dude,
raid
you're
0.
running the whole thing on 14-year-old 750 gig IDE drive. They're all
Exactly.
gonna go bad. Quit get
Exactly.
the speed out of it. Come on.
But if it's raid 5, one disk can go bad, and I still have my data.
They're all gonna go bad.
Yeah, 2 will go bad at once. You'll be screwed.
Yeah. All right. Next up,
Yeah.
software updates. Not just the OS, but apps as well. I personally do manual updates on all my apps, especially on iOS
Yep,
and
me too.
everything. I do not do automatic updates at all. And I don't recommend anybody else do it either, because basically you're letting Apple update your stuff. And then all of a sudden, if something doesn't work anymore, before you hear a lot of people complaining about an update that came out. And guess what? Your computer just got bricked because it automatically updated.
Oh, perfect
What?
example is apps. Same thing, right, Greg?
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I
Now,
never recommend automatic software updates. Ever.
no, I don't either. Now, and here's the problem: is I'm glad Apple lets us do that right now, and I hope they never change that, because if you look at Microsoft, there you have no control of putting updates on your computer anymore. They automatically will push it out to you and force you to take updates, even though your system may be working properly. They still will force you to get the
I've
Yeah, I
updates.
don't.
seen
I
I've
don't.
seen your boot camp get updates in the middle of a race, and your stream completely goes to crap because
Uh huh.
it's doing updates.
Yeah, it's doing
Yeah, I
updates at
don't
that
care
time.
what's unchecked. It's going to decide to do it, and it's just going to go ahead and do it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Well,
had.
no,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. Go on.
No.
No, so yeah, I had the experience with apps, and that's the problem with the App Store is, if an update goes out and it's a bad update, you download it, you can't revert back. There's
Nope.
no way to go back to an older version unless you had an iTunes backup and you want to get geeky about it. But
Well, the problem is I don't even think you can download it to iTunes anymore, because with Catalina coming out, that is no longer going to be an option anymore, because they're
yeah,
separating the music. It's going to be Apple Music, Apple TV, and what's the other, podcasts. So,
yeah. So
um,
yeah, I mean that was my safety net there, because especially in the early iOS days, you'd get app updates from developers and it would brick compatibility with an iPhone 4 or whatever the new model or the
mhm.
iOS was
Yep.
out, and you couldn't go back. I mean, my poor grandma downloaded the new Turner Classic Movies app update, and it bricked the capability to go full screen. And then another update bricked the thing so it couldn't even stream a movie. So my poor grandma here doesn't know what she did. You can't go back. She had to wait weeks for them to release an update. So that's why I have mine on manual. It is a pain because I'll use Instagram or Twitter, and all of a sudden something's acting funky, and I'm going, up. You know what? Haven't updated in a few weeks. That's probably what's going on. So I
Well,
just
yeah,
prefer manual.
because, like, for instance, like things like YouTube and stuff, when they changed up their APIs and everything, if you ever noticed that if you had a old iPad, the very first original iPad, the YouTube app on it doesn't work anymore because it can't connect to YouTube, because YouTube has changed their APIs and all that other stuff. So it's kind of forced updating. So you sometimes you actually have to update in order for it to work. So I when I go in and update my stuff, I go in and look at it, and I'll wait a day or two before, because sometimes I'll see it in some of the groups I'm in saying, "Hey, don't update because it just broke something." What's one of the biggest things we've seen in the Mac Pro upgrade group there, Jay? Firmware updates.
Yep.
You know, people are going like, "Oh, the firmware update just killed my Mac." Well, why didn't you wait? Why are you putting betas on
Yeah,
your?
don't get in a rush.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why are you putting a beta software which clearly states that betas are pretty much broke? you know, if you really need your system, don't put a beta on it.
yeah.
You
Yep.
Not your
know,
Pretty
primary
much.
system. Not your
And
primary disk.
for
Yeah.
updates on the Mac, it's really hard because over the years you amassed a lot of software and even drivers or extensions and stuff you don't even know you have.
mm-hmm.
There used to be two really good apps. One of them I no longer recommend because their website turned a little shady, and the other one hasn't been updated in a long time, so it doesn't work anymore. But one of them was Mac Update. They had an app. Uh, Mac updates
Someone just put it in the
desktop.
thing, macupdate.com.
Well, no, that's sync to folders. That's that
Oh, okay.
they just happened to link to that
No,
site.
it was a Mac update desktop. It would scan your entire Mac, and it would tell you these apps need updates. And you could click on them. They would either take you to the manufacturer site or the developer site or something else, and you could keep your entire Mac, all the apps up to date. A couple of years ago, Mac Update started pushing, you know, not malware, but some shady scripts with their downloads. Like you install something and suddenly you have a toolbar or you're sharing your information
Hmm.
with someone else. So I
Sounds
do
like what
recommend using
Norton
that.
used to do. Sounds like what Norton and Adobe used to do.
Yeah. And the other one was called AppFresh. It might still work on older systems. It used to be free. I don't know if it still exists, but I need an app like that because it's impossible for me to fire up each and every app I got to see if there's updates. I
It
Yeah.
looks like
do
the
it.
Mac Update desktop is now $20. You get a free
Uh,
version, but I don't know what the difference is between them.
I'm not going to
it
pay 20
sucks that they
bucks.
started doing
Yeah.
shady stuff with their downloads because it worked really well. So
Hmm.
I might have to revisit it, see how they do these days.
Oh yeah, look, it just looks like the free ones ad supported, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, I always just update stuff manually, and it is a pain. Especially you have a lot of software on your machine. I'm in the camp though of if it's not broken, I'm not updating it. If there's not a feature that I need that's in the new version, I'm leaving it alone.
Yeah,
I've been burned, especially on iOS, so many times. There was a great VNC client app on the iPhone called Mocha VNC, and the free version of it worked great. You would get an ad when you launched it or whatever, and you didn't have all the functionality. It worked fine. They released a free update, so now that free version only lasts 4 minutes, and then a disconnection says, "Hey, you got to buy the full version."
yeah.
So
You're never gonna get over that, are you?
nope,
It's,
and you can't revert from it. I mean, I should just buy the stupid app, but
Okay. Jay, what about maintenance, troubleshooting, must have tools and utilities? I know we've been talking about them and stuff, but
uh,
any other?
I mean, I'm a big fan of Onyx, Onyx. It's if you don't know what you're doing, read up on each and every feature because you can break your system with it. It's very powerful software, but if you use the maintenance tab with the built-in daily, weekly, and monthly scripts, and it's really useful. It's really nice. It does the stuff that your Mac typically does behind the screen, behind the scenes. When you walk away from your Mac, it runs a daily script, uh, all that stuff. I also use it to on older Macs. I use Onyx to disable some of the graphic stuff like dock minimizing, icons bouncing in the dock, window shadows,
Mhm.
stuff that's a little graphically intense on older hardware. I disable all that. I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this, but Clean My Mac, not to be confused with Mac Cleaner. Clean My Mac from MacPaw, solid software. They do their homework. They keep a blacklist of software they will absolutely not touch because it will break. They they put a lot of research in it, and it's really nice.
Yeah, don't use the other one.
No, no,
The one
no
with the
Mac
little
Cleaner.
Michelin.
No,
It looks
if
like
it
the
has the
Michelin
word
Man or whatever,
yeah,
where they
typically
show
if
them.
it has the word clean or cleaner in it, people malware, malware. But you need to do your homework a little and Clean My Mac, or as it's called now, Clean My Mac X, is solid software. I'm hoping to
Okay.
get the guys from MacPaw on the show one day because they make a lot of good software.
Well, one of the things I did want to talk about, I didn't see it in the list here. I think Jay took it out. Reference reinstalling OSs. What is you guys' views on doing a complete? Because I know I came from a Windows background before I started with Macs, and about every 6 months in the Windows world, you had to basically wipe your computer, reinstall from scratch Windows, do all the updates, which is a pain in the butt, reinstall all your stuff, and it took like a full day to do that. I
if you're
know it's not
lucky.
as I know it's not as bad if you reinstall Mac OS, but for me, since I've been using Mac OS, I've never actually ever had to redo my Mac like that. It's
It's
it
been very rare when I've had to do that, and it's usually after years of installing, let's say, third-party tools for hard drive support for different formats and a lot of weird utilities and things, and something just breaks. Like,
Yeah.
I can't launch Photoshop anymore, even if I reinstall it. It doesn't want to. At those times, I'm forced to be like, all right, you know what? Let me erase everything. And either I back up to Time Machine, erase the disk, and then restore from it, or do carbon copy cloner, clone the drive, or that's something like that. And then after, if I don't want to restore from a backup, you could do a clean install of OS 10 over your existing copy, and it's just going to wipe out the system stuff, leave all your data there. Now, of course, it's always good to have backup no matter what.
Yeah.
But I've done that since I think the Tiger days, or even before then, because I thought it was so useful. Because back then I thought I had to install the OS 10, maybe once every year or so, because things would just get a little weird. But since Snow Leopard, I really haven't had to do that.
Well, like I said, I personally have not ever had to do it. I mean, Jay, you said you've done it before a few
It
times.
used to be a sport. I mean, OS 9, 8.6 and 9 were easy to rebuild. Literally drag and drop stuff, you'd be
Well,
done.
yeah, because OS 9 wasn't that big, but when you
Yeah.
start getting into,
Not OS 10 too.
when you
It
start
was,
getting into like 6 gigabytes, which is now what
yeah.
an OS is, it takes a little while, especially on older hardware,
The last
to
time I
install.
rebuilt Mac OS 10 was in 2010, right before Lion came out. Uh, Before that, I used to do it 2, 3 times a year as a religion. It was just, even if there was nothing wrong with my system, I would clone my drive, wipe it, install a fresh OS, and manually put back some, documents, desktop, some application
Hmm.
support things, some preference files. In an hour I'd be done, and my system would be faster than ever. But in Lion, that changed because before you could take your application support, you could take mail, and you could take your mail preferences, put it back, and all your email would be there.
Yeah.
And then Lion, it started tying into these locked playlist files for accounts, and it had to go through accounts database, and it just became a hassle. So I haven't really done it since Lion because Apple just took all the fun out of it, basically. But yeah, before that, 2, 3 times a year, all the time.
Hmm. Andrew is over here saying for some reason his Mac decided it didn't want a serial number anymore, which stops iMessages and FaceTime from working on your Mac. He says he tried to reinstall it and he says it didn't work.
We're
Is it?
talking Hackintosh?
I'm
Yeah,
wondering,
so I
is it a
think
Hackintosh or is it
yeah,
a Macintosh?
Hmm.
yeah, because if it's a Hackintosh and it doesn't detect you have a valid serial number, it may disable that stuff, which is very
Yeah.
tricky,
Yeah.
very sneaky.
Unless you had a logic board replacement in your Mac and they never serialized it, that could be it too.
Yeah, that's a good possibility. But if it's a Hackintosh, I mean, that's just the things you got to deal with. I mean, it's
And
and
he
plus
says it's a MacBook.
it's a MacBook.
Yeah,
Huh.
Hmm.
call Apple and yell at them.
Yeah, I would. Well, they won't do anything.
Well, they
They'll t-
might. I mean,
no, they'll tell them to buy a new one.
it's a software issue. They can figure it out.
But that's
Give them
enough.
something to scratch their heads about.
Yeah, but that 2015 MacBook Pro, he said. So, yeah, I would. I'd be
Not too
screaming at
old.
Apple on that. All right, guys. Any other things about house spring cleaning and stuff? We've been on this for about an hour.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more to it than just the stuff we talked about. But yeah, just maintenance, cleaning up, check your backups,
And
everything that's
actually back up.
and actually back up.
Yeah,
Everything that's important to you. Make sure it's safe and
Yeah, don't be a fool. Discs
and
die. It's
and
not. It's not if. It's when.
yeah, and keep the dust bunnies out of your system.
yeah.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on to our next topic here. This is something we were going to talk about last week also, but didn't get to it because we ran way over.
Way.
Uh, yeah, PPC Gaming Lounge. Now, we have a Facebook group called PPC Gaming Lounge. I think how many members are in there? 366 members. It's probably a little bit more now since
Yeah.
you wrote this. Um, we have 3 servers available 24/7. One of them is sitting right behind Jay. He runs the UT04 server, which we
Yep.
try to play once a week, roughly. So there you go.
Nice.
Right up there. It has its own rack and everything.
Yep. So that's the UT04 server.
Beautiful.
Um, he usually has the bots on. I think the bots are off right now because me and my son played the other day, and we said, "Hey, I basically called up Jay. I said, "Hey, can you turn the bots off?" And he's like, "Sure." And boom, they were off. So yeah, we have fun on there. Then you have UT99, which is the previous version, hosted by Blake Haynes. And then we have Quake World, which is hosted by Chris. Chris, you said Christ on here, but Chris
Right?
Grant Kowicki. Kurowicki, is that how you say his name?
I don't know.
Chris. We'll just go by Chris.
Yeah, you
But
think so.
yeah. So, anyways, but those are the 3 servers in there, and not only that, but we have a voice chat server called it's Ventrilo that's available 24/7 also through Mac OS and iOS apps.
Yeah.
Now, it is a 32-bit app, so if you're upgrading to Catalina soon, it will not work on there. One of the things is it might be called PPC Gaming Lounge. However, Intel Macs are welcome.
Yeah. We had a tournament a couple of months back, and we opened it up to Intel players. We did a PowerPC versus Intel tournament.
Oh,
That was
that was
fun.
awesome.
It was awesome. And so many people showed up that we just decided, Intel can join as long as you're running Mac OS.
Yes.
Join the fun. And Chris recently did a Quake tournament. We haven't done an Unreal tournament
In a while.
in a while.
I
But we
think the
will.
last one was live when we did it on Mac Yak.
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Not for minors, yeah.
But yeah,
Yes.
if you're not in the group, forget the name. PowerPC Gaming Lounge, yes, that's how it started. But if you're into gaming, multiplayer gaming, and you want a whole bunch of Mac gamers to, set up games with, tournaments, maybe start your own server, advertise it there, join the fun.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, I think Rocky is trying to get a Halo. Was it Halo or
He's
which?
not. He's
I
not.
forget which server he's
No,
trying to get going, but
no, he's been saying that for a year now. It's not gonna happen.
Well, I have enough, G5 towers sitting in my basement. We'll get one of those up and running,
And I
maybe as a
think
server.
Rudy was talking about setting up a Wolf 3D server. That's not going to happen either. So
I've been actually trying to help him with that, and I couldn't get it to. The problem with it is that trying to run a server on that is just a pain because each copy has to have its own serial number and it's all the other good stuff. Yeah. So that's the
Yeah,
problem with
some
it.
of those make make it a pain to do it, and some you can just run dedicated server for free if you don't own the application. So.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but some people in the chat was like, "Oh, can I play with my G4 Cube?" Yes, John, you can. That's
but
that's something you can do.
is it Blake that owns the Tau City or is it Chris? I can't.
Tausetti is Chris.
Okay. He has a server where you can actually go on, log on, and download all the games we play. All you got to do is drag and drop pretty much. I mean, especially like UTO4, it has all the maps that we play with.
Yep.
Because if you install it from Macintosh Gardens, there's a lot of maps that we play that are not on there, and you're talking about slow downloads. Okay.
Or if you're a fool like me, the first time I played with you guys, you probably remember, I was installing from my discs. So I had, in fact, I had the box right here. Let's pull it up here. So
Floppies.
I was installing Unreal Tournament 2004. It still has the Apple Store price sticker on it.
Ooh.
We're
And
45 minutes into a tournament, and he's sending screenshots. I'm halfway there.
yeah. And this was taking forever. When I finally got it installed, it didn't have the patches, didn't have the updates, and I couldn't play. So I just had to download it and just go from there. So
Yeah.
save
Yeah.
yourself the trouble. Don't be the hero. Just just download it.
Join the PowerPC Gaming Lounge, and
And all the
Chris
info's
has
there.
a file share that's available over AFP, so you can connect to with a Mac running 8.6. You can connect to it.
I tested it.
With a Mac running Mojave, you can connect to it. And if you don't like AFP, it's available over FTP as well. It's just very slow, so plan ahead.
Yep, exactly. Make sure you just get all the stuff that you need. Don't rely on the download because the servers we have are really slow, especially large maps, and especially when we're playing at the time. So by the time you get the map downloaded, we'll be on the next map.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So yeah, just save yourself some time and do that. It's trust me, it's really worth it. And we have a blast on there when we play. So everybody has to get in there and try to kick Jay's butt because he's like the reigning king over there right now on UTO4. And he
Damn puck
plays with
mouse.
a what? A
Puck.
puck mouse.
Yes, sir.
He plays with a puck. I kind of highly doubt that, but I need to see him do that one of these days.
Next
I need
time
to,
we go live,
We'll have
I'll
to have a
point my
LAN
phone
party
down.
at Grudy's house.
yeah. We'll have a LAN party. There we go.
Ooh, I'd love that.
That would be nice. All right, guys. Anything else on PPC Gaming Lounge?
No, join if you haven't already, or
Yep.
else.
Do it.
Do it. All right. News and rumors. This is some of the stuff we were going to get in last week. Apple says the new Mac Pro and the Pro Display XDR are coming in September. Some of you guys probably already knew that, but just to let you know that, yes, Apple has already announced that they will be coming out in September. So if you have about $10,000 to blow or more, then go for it. Because if you get the Mac Pro and the XDR display, that's at least $10,000 right there. So yeah, you're going to be spending some money, and that's just
Of
the base
course, we
version.
are currently accepting donations. Of course.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are.
And as mentioned on the previous Mac Yak, as mentioned on Crazy Ken's video, we are accepting donations and we are selling internal organs so we can all get one and race it down the road. It's still happening. It's still
I
Yes.
sold my left arm.
happening. I'm down a kidney, but it's all good. Actually, I got the most value for it in Dubai, of all places.
Yeah, there you go.
Good pro tip right there.
Yep. All right. Next news is iOS 13 will offer smart battery charging. Somebody found out that basically the way it's going to work is instead of it charging completely up, it's going to charge up to like 90%, and then it's going to trickle charge from that 90% all the way as it's on the charger, and it won't go any higher. Now, it's going to also have some smart machine learning with it that knows when you put it on the charger, when you take it off. So let's say, for instance, you put your phone on the charger at night before you go to bed. It will charge up to about 90%. And then about 30 minutes before you wake up, the normal time you take it off the charger, it will go ahead and charge it up to 100%. So it won't overcharge your phone ever again, and it'll make your battery last a lot longer. I think this is a good deal for older phones and stuff like that.
It
It
is. It's
sounds good, but I
also
wonder.
fairly useless for people that have variable shifts or a newborn and you get up whenever.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
wake
and
up, 20%, that's great.
yeah,
I
hopefully you could turn that off. And I wonder. I
I
wonder
think
what
they said
the.
there's a way you could turn it. It will be a way to turn it off.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
okay. And I wonder, is there any harm in charging the battery, stopping charging? Every if it's going to gradually charge up to 10%. I don't know if it's doing that by supplying less voltage, or if it's regulating something, or if it's just stop and start, stop and start.
well, it's probably the software that's
Mhm.
stopping and starting it, and it's
Hmm.
basically going to trickle charge it up to 100%. Like
If I
right now,
recall, it's going to do an 80% fast charge and then it's
yeah,
just going to shut off the power until the machine learning thinks you're getting close to waking up and then it charges the rest.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right, I'll play around with it when it comes out. Be
yeah.
interesting.
I want to see if it can keep up with charging my phone while I'm doing group FaceTime because if it can't, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
This takes a lot of juice.
Well, I noticed that when I use my phone in my vehicle using maps, I use Waze a lot, and I
Nobody
have a
says
wireless.
vehicle, Greg. We say car.
Well,
Come on.
car,
Not the
whatever.
army
Jeep.
anymore.
Yeah,
Snap out.
20 years. Okay.
Old habit.
Anyways, so I have a wireless charger in my car, and when I'm using the Maps app, it can't keep up. The wireless charger can't keep up with how much power the GPS and everything else is drawing. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have to basically plug it in when I'm using it in
Or
a
get
vehicle
one of
like that.
those 9-watt wireless chargers, not the 5-watt ones.
Yeah. So, but anyways, just to let you know that that's one of the things I've been noticing with my iPhone. So, but anyways, all right, next thing. And I think Jay is going, I see you highlighting, so I think you're going to put the link in there, correct?
Why are you spying on me, bro?
Because I got the document open. That's a good thing about it. If you guys don't know, we use
Giving away our
Pages.
secrets.
No, well, we use Pages to do our notes and everything. And the cool thing about Pages that no Microsoft product can do is you could do collaboration and editing all at the same time. I can see when Jay is doing something. He could see when I'm doing something in
Well,
the document.
you could do it if you subscribe to their Word garbage. You're saying you can't do it for free
No,
with
no, 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 no,
Microsoft
no,
product.
no. You cannot see the actual editing because actually one person can actually have it open. The other person can see you
Oh,
editing, but
I
you
see what you're
can't
getting
edit.
at.
It's locked. It's locked for
Yeah.
editing.
I
Okay.
just
Never
put
mind.
in a
Yeah.
note
Yeah.
for you. I
Yeah,
don't know if you see it.
yeah, I see it, but I'm not going to say that. It says Jay sucks, but you know.
Oh, okay. Now, Apple
Anyways,
today released a battery recall program for 15-inch MacBook Pros sold between September 2015 and February 2017. And this is one of the few recalls that we didn't have to sue them over to get. So it's give it up for Apple. Good job, good job. I put the link in the chat. If you have a MacBook Pro from that time period, put your serial number in the website. See if you're eligible, because you might find yourself with a battery that's swelling up, warping your case, cracking your trackpad, and all that
mm-hmm.
stuff. So definitely check it out.
Yeah. My office machine is a mid 2015 Retina 15-inch, and I put the serial number through there, but it says I'm not eligible. So, all right, whatever.
And we don't have an overlay for the next one here because I guess you didn't see my. Did I put it in there?
What are you talking about?
I had a what were they smoking and it's not there anymore.
Dude, I put in this battery recall, and when I went back to make the overlays, that was gone too. I think iCloud had a mess up.
They
So
must have.
we're praising Pages here, and now we're yelling at
Yeah,
Now
them.
we're
no.
yeah.
Pages is great. iCloud sucks.
Oh man, now I don't even want to go try to find it again because I put it in there. So oh well.
That's all right.
Anyways, we're gonna get to the what were they smoking portion because I did have something, but I guess I won't have it. But anyways, this guy had a what was it? I can't remember. I showed you guys. In fact, it's probably in the. I could
I
probably
had the
pull up.
Oh,
PDF. Yeah.
that iMac thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There it is. I found it. Okay. Here, I'll share the link here real quick. It's a iMac Dalmatian iMac.
Oh, the Blue Dalmatian G3.
Yeah. Okay. That's the link to it right there. Oh, you just pulled it up too. So. Oh no, I just did it. Anyways, it's a G3 SC Dalmatian 500 megahertz, 1 gigabyte RAM, 20 gigabyte hard drive, box plus extras. Now, you know, not a big deal, but how much would you expect to pay for that?
I mean, it is, and that's a trick a lot of people use on eBay. The pictures are very overexposed, so you can't see the scratches and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And assuming that he's not trying to scam us, which he is with that price, but
Yeah.
it is a very nice set with the keyboard and the mouse. The power cord is not original, but it's a very nice package.
Yeah, but
And
if you
Yeah.
scroll down and read some of the stuff on here he's got, and there's one of the things I put on there that kind of stood out. Private collection, mod customized, one of a kind, very unique iMac. I'm sorry, but it's not unique.
no, hard to
Well,
get. Yeah,
also,
it is hard
this
to
is the
get.
same guy that mods the clamshells and stuff. So what he's probably done is piece this together over a few different machines.
Yeah.
And I
So
have a suspicion that the box is not the actual
it's
box.
not. Actually, he says that later on. He says it's not the
Ah,
original box.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Because
for a
because
Dalmatian, if I was collecting these, which I'm not for a Dalmatian in good shape, everything working with everything, I would say, putting my collector hat on,
Oh, we got Ken in here
150
now.
bucks.
Yeah, I would say 150 to 200 if it was the original box, if it was, the condition, a good condition machine, because those patterns were some of the last ones, and they were kind of funky, and not
Yeah,
a lot of people, I guess, bought them because the snow one, the Dalmatian one, and the flower power one seemed to be the more sought after ones, because
yeah.
by then the G4
Although
machines
the
were just,
flower power one
were
is
more
so
popular.
hideous.
Yeah, well, some
Yes.
people still look for them, but yeah, I mean, if this guy's nuts because he has a comparable box. It's not the same one. He clearly just pieced this together over different things. It would be different if it was everything original in the original box and everything. But again, these machines are CRTs. That CRT is not going to last forever. That
No,
flyback transformer is known to go bad on these machines, and I don't think it's worth that
not
much at all.
$1,500. Yeah, not
No.
1,500. But
You
Ken,
remove 0.2 from it. I'd pay 145 if I was into that stuff and if it had all the original stuff. But yeah, that's too much.
I
Ken
mean,
made a good
not
point.
even Crazy Ken would be crazy enough to pay that amount for that hat. No way.
he, he even mentioned in there. He goes, they love their colorful fonts, and which
Oh
is
yeah,
true. If you look at there, it's like a third grader wrote this description up
yeah. This is
because
very early
That's the
2000s
early
web.
days of what was that Facebook My Page? No, not My Page.
my
MySpace.
MySpace.
MySpace,
Yeah.
MySpace. So yeah, that's the funny part is that it's like you get big fonts and then little small fonts when they don't want
I
you to
love
read it.
this. Free photos plus free music. Why would I want someone's photo?
So yeah, that's just that's what they were smoking. So here's the question: what were they smoking?
He was chewing on Tide Pods. Has to be. Has to
So
be.
the original box he burned and then inhaled all of the air
Ah,
from the
the fumes,
box,
the fumes
the
from the box.
styrofoam included.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Steve always with the creative smoking solutions, man. That's
He
hats
was
off to
smoking.
you.
He was smoking styrofoam fumes. All right, guys. So we're almost done here. So it's going to be a short night tonight. But go ahead and go with our shameless self promotions here. Uh, I'll start it off. I'm still doing my iRacing stuff, so you can catch me in my link down below in the description. Um, I still do my iRacing stuff, so if you're not a follower of me on Twitch, please go down there and follow. You don't have to subscribe, anything like that. But if you have a Twitch Prime, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to me because it's free for you, but I get half of what Twitch gets, so that helps me out a lot too.
I should
Uh,
have to do that. That's a good reminder. Thanks.
yeah, see. So I appreciate if you guys did that for me. You don't have to watch me race if you don't want to, but that's what I do on there.
Yeah, don't
Every
watch him
once
race. It's
every once in a
terrible.
while, I do bring out Microsoft Flight Simulator and I do go around and fly, but that's
Oh,
boring to
hey
watch.
Greg, I know it's not easy to change the overlays after the fact, but can you overlay the design of your race car at the moment with your new paint
um,
scheme? That thing
I
is pretty
don't.
badass.
Did I put it in here or not? I sent it to you guys, right?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago. You
Gosh,
know,
you're gonna make.
it's not until you start looking for a picture in our group chats that you realize how much crap we send to each other every day.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that
Scrolling for
search
20
feature of
minutes.
iMessages, I'm waiting for that in iOS 13.
Yeah.
I hope it's
It's
good.
like I was looking for a picture the other day and I'm scrolling. Like after 5 minutes, this was 2 days ago. Scroll. I just gave up. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, God forbid you tap on something, it strikes you right to the bottom, and you start all over
All
again.
right, hold on. I've got a. Hold on, let me pull it up.
So
I
Dana
just.
is saying we're not going till 10 p.m. He's going to unsubscribe. This is actually the second time out of 29 shows that he's here and awake at the same time. So yeah, that's not going to fly, Dana. Not going to fly. You need to
That's
be here for
weird.
at least 30 episodes awake to make such claims.
All right, here's my new truck design here. So you guys
Ooh.
should be able to love that one. But that is on my truck. Um, I got the back too, but I'm just going to show just the front part. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
That's also the same colors on the Cup car that I run as well. Which is the NASCAR, the highest series that they run. It's on the Camaro ZL1. It's the same kind of paint scheme. I have the Mac Yak logo on it, with the colors of Mac Yak on there. The guy that painted it up for me did a really good job. I like it. So if you guys want to come and watch me race, that's one of the vehicles that I do race.
Yeah, it's a little bittersweet because the whole back used to be my logo. And that's gone.
You stopped paying me.
What? I gave you bits, bro.
That's true. He does give me bits. And he does subscribe to me by using his Twitch Prime. So
Uh-huh.
there you go. All right. Let's move it over to Steve there. Let Steve do his shameless.
Sure. Because of my iMac, I'm kind of out of commission right now with my video stuff until I get myself either set up on the Mac Pro or get a new video card or whatever. Also going away for a bit, so I'm going to I'll be in the great country of Japan for a while. So I'll be on vacation and not doing much of technology stuff probably. But if I see anything cool, I'll put it on my Instagram or my Twitter. So that'll be fun. I don't foresee me finding any Mac stuff there. And if I did, I don't think I could take it back on the plane with me. So,
But you're gonna
but
wake up. You're gonna wake up at whatever time Maciak is next week, aren't you?
it's only a 13-hour time difference, sure.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing that. So I won't be on the next Mac Yak probably unless I jump in just for saying hello. And my channel probably. Unfortunately, I was working on editing a video, and that graphics card issue kind of put the kibosh on that. But some fun stuff I'm working on. Hope to have it out sooner or later. But yeah, go to my Instagram or my Twitter. Mac84TV is the handle, and you can keep track on me what I'm doing, while I'm on my little trip there, and I'll see if I find anything geeky to share. That'll be fun.
Well, if Ken can make a video on OS9, or what was it, Final Cut Pro 2.
Yep.
You got an iPhone that's 20 times more powerful. You can just edit it all in iMovie on your phone.
I wish that the iMovie app on the iPhone was better because I would so use that. But I can't even crop a 4K video on Instagram without the app crashing, let alone, dealing with, a bunch of other things. But yeah, I think that SGI is ripe for what were they smoking in the future.
Oh no, Jay and I are laughing because and Steve's probably seen it now too. But
Now I'm looking.
yeah, that's our spokesperson. But anyways, okay. So anything else there, Steve?
No, just look at my social stuff, my Patreon stuff. I'll probably do an exclusive video with some little things before I leave. But yeah, I hope I have fun, and I hope that I find some geeky stuff there. There's some notoriously good hardware, software thrift stores there that I can't wait to take a look at.
All right. What about you, Jay?
Well, I just sent you a picture. I don't know how easy it is for you to put it up on the stream. Not that picture, the other picture.
Oh, actually, it'd be pretty easy. Hold on. Give me a second.
Save me moving the camera over there.
No, I can do that.
Sweet. Because by some miracle,
All right,
I
it's up.
have 116 subscribers on YouTube. I have no idea where they
Woohoo!
came from. I have no idea what they're there for because I haven't done anything on there in 2 months.
I know. I pay him Patreon money. He hasn't done anything.
Oh, stop complaining. So I'm going to this Sunday. I'm going to be recording the final installment on the Xserve videos. I unintentionally started working my way back because the first video I did was for the Intel. Then I did the G5s. Then I did the Raid. And so I'm going to end up with the G4. And I got
Nice.
a product, the Vert X, that came out same time the first Xserve did. So I figured, hey, I finally have everything I need to make this video. So I'm going to be working on that. And what comes next is still up in the air.
Alrighty.
Looks sexy though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it takes up much less space when it's lying flat.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
All right, guys. So I think we're about ready to wrap things up here.
I would say so.
So if you guys want to, after the show, we will be probably hanging out on Discord for a little bit. So join us at our Discord. It's up on the screen right now. You can have fun with us, talk to us there. We'll be on the voice chat. Uh, I got to get my headphones out before I could do it on my Mac Pro because I don't have a mic or on this particular Mac Pro. So, anyways, like and subscribe both YouTube and Facebook. Uh, check out the description info and the links in down below. I already have everything down there, so make sure you check us all out there. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Make sure we got to get this growing. We got 191 subscribers, I think, today. Let's hit that over 200 mark. Let's hurry up and get that 200.
Definitely.
So tell your friends about us. If you're in a bunch of groups that we're not in, which I think probably not, I think we're in all of them. Hey, let them know that we're here, and let us know about the groups that you're in that we may not know about, so we can go over there and spread this word.
Yeah. Man, Nick is quick. He's already in the voice chat on Discord.
He was probably already over there before we even get. I haven't even fired up Discord yet, so I need to fire it up still. So.
Yeah, and we're gonna have Dana there complaining how we didn't make it the full 2 hours.
Hey, I gotta still pack. I got things to do.
Hey, we didn't even think we were going to make it past an hour tonight.
No,
Okay,
no.
We're good at
We
stretching.
did all right.
we made it an hour and 36 minutes. So hey,
Yeah.
I think it's a good with just three of us.
And after you're done hanging out with us on Discord, it gets pretty tiresome after 10 minutes, so I don't blame you. Go check out Crazy Ken's video. He premiered one today. And then
that was a fun one, yeah.
I still have to watch it. I was prepping for Macyak, so.
Well, I got to finish watching. I actually went in and watched it for a little bit before as Macyak and said hi to him there, but then I had to go and start prepping for our show tonight. So,
yeah.
Ken, I didn't see the whole thing, but I will go back and watch it though. Actually,
I just put the link in there.
Actually, I think I should have watched it at the beginning of the week because his Patreons get sneak peek access before he actually premieres it. So,
I just watched the tail end of it before joining here, so I got to rewind.
So, I got to go do that as well. So, you guys support him. He's been supporting us over here at Macyak. He's a pretty cool guy. He gets some good videos out there. And he actually does have Steve in one of his videos and Greg Rutke. So 2 of our yackers are in one of his videos. So
I'm proud to be a part of it.
Yep.
All right, guys. I will see you on Discord.
Yep. We'll catch you guys later. You guys have a great one.
See you guys in a few weeks.
Yep.
See ya.